206. That is the number of deaths in 2016 related to heroin, opioids, fentanyl, and related substances within the 10 counties served by the Monroe County Medical Examiner's Office. That's a number that grew 142% in 1 year, from 2015 to 2016. It's also a number that the Polito family, like countless others, feared would include their own child, Mary Jo. 2016 was when they learned their daughter was addicted to heroin, and when life as they knew it changed. The Polito family's story is one that may resonate with many watching this broadcast. It's a story Mary Jo herself wanted to share, solely in the hopes of helping to save at least one life. Mary Jo, when did your journey with addiction begin?
My journey began in approximately 2008. In 2003, I was in a car accident where I had a severe back injury. In 2008, I had surgery on my back. I was prescribed pain medication, which I had been prescribed since 2004. The addiction didn't begin until after my surgery. I started abusing the medication, taking too much, running out, which progressed into turning to heroin. I was cut off on my pain medication from my doctors, and I turned to buying them from the street, which in turn led me to, I believe it was September of 2013, I purchased heroin for the first time. Honestly, I didn't realize I had an addiction when it was pain pills. I had convinced myself that I was treating my pain and that I needed these pills, just kind of ignoring the fact that I was abusing them. When I started using heroin, I hid it from everybody. I hid it from friends, I hid it from my children, my family. It wasn't until I started that first outpatient that I admitted to my family that I was using heroin.
At that stage of the game is when we went and pulled them out and brought them to our house. And it wasn't a matter of whether she liked it or didn't like it. We didn't even question that, you know. And she didn't fight it either. I mean, she was addicted, and that's all there was to it. And the addiction is all they can deal with, you know. So that's probably when I realized that she was really in trouble.
The end of June, I went on about a 5-day binge with my ex, and we were using for 5 days straight. And when I woke up that morning, I had been up from the night before, parked outside of an M&T bank with my car running, and I was waiting for the 24 hours to come up so that I could take more money out because I had taken out the limit that day. And I was just disgusted with myself. I mean, I was at a point where I hated living. It wasn't looking forward to getting high, it was because I had to get high. I had to not be sick. There was nothing enjoyable about it anymore. And I was away from my family, my kids, for 5 days, no contact with them. And I had just come to a point where I also was knowing that it was going to be where I was probably going to lose my family and lose the place where I was living. And I said, that's enough. I couldn't do it to myself, and I couldn't do it to my family anymore.
How would you describe this road to recovery and how it's different than in the past?
I don't remember a time that I've actually enjoyed life like I do right now. And I'm going back probably 25, 30 years. You know, I think it's important to know about addiction is that a lot of people are numbing their pain with using. They don't want to feel sadness or physical pain or emotional pain. And that's probably what started with me, is I noticed that I didn't have to feel anymore. The methadone program has worked great for me. I'm held accountable, which is something I really like. I have to go every day to get my dose. I don't have the accessibility to it like I did with Suboxone, so that works really well for me. Since I've engaged in recovery and really wanted to get something out of it, I really have wanted to focus on getting and staying clean, and just in learning more about addiction. It's important for me to communicate with all three of my children because I want them to be aware of how serious this disease is and that people are dying. I want them to know that they're predisposed because I have the chemical makeup of an addict, and in their cases, their fathers do as well. So I told my daughter, my youngest daughter, the best advice that I can give her is don't think it can't happen to you.
When she finally came in this last time was when she decided that she really wanted to help. And like we says, we're there for you 100%, you know, and that's basically it. We'll support her all the way, you know, now. And I mean, that's the scary part, because it's like I says, you know, they talk about relapsing. You hear so much about the relapsing. When that situation, if it ever comes, which I hope it doesn't, you know, we'll deal with that when we get to it. But right now, everything's good, so.
Gotta stay in the moment.
Yeah.
The very first thing that I learned and came to realize is that if you help them or enable when they are an active user, you're hurting them. You need to, like, because I remember that feeling if she wanted $10 for something to eat, okay, if I give her this, maybe this time she'll come back around. You know, and it's just, that's the feeling you have. It's like, let me do this for her because maybe this time it's gonna work, regardless of what it was. The second thing that I really came to a realization for is to remember that addiction is a disease. I think that's real important to understand and to believe, because it helps you look at your loved one better in the way that they're not doing this to hurt you. They wish they weren't doing it. And then to understand and try to support them when they're ready.
Your life will change. It's going to change. And there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, it's not nobody's fault, but you're going to have to change your life and adjust things to the situation that you're in now, because it's never going to be the same as it was before. You always have them questions, and you have to change to survive also, you know, as you're going through this. And we've done that to a degree. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I just wanted people to know that it's never, you're never going to be the same as you were before.
We went out for ice cream together to celebrate 60 days clean. Just, it's nice to be recognized for those small achievements. And I shouldn't even say small, because they are big achievements in the world of addiction. So, but I do like to take it day by day. Sometimes you have to, just to say I made it through another day without using. It's a constant battle. And as good as I feel right now, I don't let myself forget that. I won't forget where I came from. I won't forget that I had a 1.5 years clean and I relapsed.
Mary Jo, for people who see and hear your story, who themselves are struggling with addiction, what do you want them to learn from your journey?
There's a couple things. One thing I want to say to those that are still suffering, don't be ashamed of this disease. That was something I had to overcome, to think I was going to be an embarrassment to my family or to my kids. So don't be ashamed. There are, although there is a lack of resources, there are resources that are available. So take advantage of those. And I just want to tell them not to give up. There is hope, and we do recover. As cliche as that sounds, it's true. You just have to want it.
Relapse is Mary Jo's greatest fear, but right now she's focused on moving past her fears. She has her sights set on getting her certification as a peer advocate to help others struggling with addiction and recovery.